I got first place with this Greninja Sceptile deck brought straight from the Boat Lab. It's kind of an old deck with new inclusions such as Small Balloon, Juliana, and new Furfrou that makes this deck extremely potent against lockdown decks with Chingling that usually stop these types of rare candy decks. One argument so far that we're having with this is either Rocky Helmet or Hiking Trail because you can do standard 150 and plus 20 with Rocky Helmet, or Hiking Trail to just draw more. Either way, this deck is starting off with an amazing high win rate, and I definitely recommend giving it a shot if you like decks that have decent skill curve that could potentially zoom and maneuver around any matchup. But this is game one of finals, grand finals. This is this was the hot deck at the time. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of this. We saw an iteration similar to this last season, just without the Mega Sableye. But they start off swapping right into the Furfrou. They're going to take no damage. That's actually me, by the way. So this is from the opponent's perspective, since this was from Sana, the streamer. I think I'm just taking my time there for whatever reason. But I used the Small Balloon to get into the Furfrou, and the chance is pretty high. I think, yeah, I was just thinking about Rocky Helmet. So it stops their pressure later on in the game. And I see that they also don't have any Sabrina, so I just opt for the Rocky Helmet. I'm just going to keep attacking. But I get the first KO, and now they're thinking, who do I go to? They're going to be going to that Froakie. So the thing about the new Furfrou as well, even though you do have to flip a coin and it is a little bit risky, you do have the opportunity at least to do 60 damage in just one shot. But my opponent does have the Greninja. They're going to rare candy up, and then they're going to get tons of cards here. Get another rare candy, and the Greninja, and the Small Balloon. So kind of hefty. They can start pinging the back. Looking pretty good for them. But yeah, this deck is extremely hot. This first game especially is just nasty. It is nasty. So they're definitely going to ping not the Trico. They're going to ping the Furfrou. A little bit weird there. I guess they're just trying to tackle the front row and just work their way back. Nothing wrong with that, because next turn they can definitely get the KO, push on onto the Trico, but they're just going to end the turn right then and there. So I do have the opportunity to use rare candy and just evolve right away if I have it, but I just have the Grovyle, just as good, and they didn't ping me either. So I'm just going to go for the attack, get another 30 damage. So this is looking just pretty even, pretty back and forth here and there. But they have the research. I'm going to draw 2 cards, Pokeball and Froakie. I think the Pokeball isn't anything else, or is it just Mega Absol? Okay. It's pretty decent. They're just going to double ping, I believe. My opponent does play kind of slow, though, not going to lie. Like, now that I'm actually seeing it in, like, opponent's perspective. But I definitely respect it all the same, because it definitely takes a lot of brain power. You don't want to mess up being in finals like this. So definitely take your time to play. If you're playing serious in tournament like this, there's nothing wrong with playing a little bit slower, not dragging it out. Like if you're just turn 1 playing 1 card, you know, maybe don't take a lot of time on that. But little minute things like energy placement, swapping out things, those things can definitely put more thought into, because sometimes that is the deciding factor. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Darkrai. I already have 1 point on them, so I see my win condition right there. It is going to be that Darkrai. I'm going to put my everything into it. They're definitely just going to ping me. It's going to be putting me at 50 damage, 50 HP. So that's the double doozy. So right now, pretty decent spot. How do I twist this in my favor? I know it's hot. I know it's hot. Can't wait for y'all to see it. So that should be the Trico in the back. I did ping the Darkrai. So I'm just gonna prep up my Trico, and I think they are very terrified of this. Because now they have to decide, oh, do they have Rare Candy Sceptile? You know, it puts extra pressure on the field. I don't want to show my hand too early, so I'm just going to keep pinging. Just going to keep going for my win condition. And they have the Cyrus. So right now they're going to ping, and they're going to have the longest decision of their life. This is such a great game for me. Oh my god, dude. Like, I am feeling on cloud 9 right now. Because they are very, very trapped. Their Darkrai is at 40 HP. I do have my Grovyle that can snipe for the 50. And in this position, I also have Cyrus. So this is 1000% checkmate. There is nothing you can do. But this is all probably a cause of them not pinging my Trico earlier with the Greninja. So that could have been a thing. I'm not super duper sure. But all the same, there's nothing they can do this game one. They're kind of just hoping. All right, they either don't have Rare Candy, they meaning me, or they don't have Cyrus. But I definitely have that Cyrus. They're gonna go down, so they're gonna ping the back. They're gonna go for that Cyrus and swap as well. I have 20 seconds left. They're just gonna swap it so that Grovyle can't one-shot anything. So they're just going to take me down. And then it's my turn. And they get very terrified here, which is really silly to me. It's a very preemptive thing. So I had... So the story here is I had Cyrus, but I'm just going to use Juliana instead because I already have Greninja in my hand. But they go for it anyway. So yeah, that's what it was. So I had Formosa. I actually top deck Formosa. I think it was another game, but this is my first time rewatching these. But it is very crazy how this Greninja Sceptile deck, boat approved by the way, just has like a lot of different options, a lot of different win conditions. You have your Juliana. You have your back pokes with the Grovyle. You have your Furfrou that can potentially do 60 damage. This deck is nasty. This deck really has a lot going for it. And getting more into the specifics of it, I opted for the Rocky Helmet, as I mentioned earlier, because I kind of just want that extra assurance against Chingling. So this Grand Finals was perfectly matched up for me, because if you're fighting non-Chingling, probably not Rocky Helmet. You don't need it as badly. But if you're saying Chingling, I definitely like to double down on my Chingling outs, because it could be rough because everybody's running Greninja nowadays. But they're gonna go into the Chingling, which is a little bit odd. But they just want to stop me from any potential rare candies. I get it, but that's going to do 0 damage to me. I should get this Furfrou out, no problem. If I do have anything in hand, it's not really going to matter because I can't use anything at this moment. So just going to bolster my hand a little bit. Going to put the Rocky Helmet in the back. And then we're going to try swing. Okay. And that is the downfall of that deck, unfortunately. The downfall of this deck is that, yeah, you're occasionally going to do 0 damage. But I'm a gambler. I like a little bit of risk. Why not? You know, if I could kind of just end game sometimes, I'm happy with that. If you could avoid an entire game by just one-shotting their basic and the game just ending instead of you going throughout like all of these like modes of thoughts, like it just drains you through tournaments, because these tournaments do last quite a minute. So if you put into perspective, if you're in a tournament for like 5-6 hours or whatever, and you can just end one game by just flipping 2 coins heads and you just win. That's a big deal. But looks like they opt for the Chingling hit just to slow things down even more. I'm fairly sure that I don't miss this Furfrou hit, and I have the Juliana as well, so that reveals that I have both stage 2s in my hand, but I kind of want to just get it out. So there's the double heads. It's not really going to matter all too much, but we get the Chingling down. They get a lot of draws. They get the Pokeball and another Chingling and the small balloon, so they can definitely set up for another Chingling if they wanted to. So what they go into? They have a Pokeball. They draw into the Froakie, Pokeball, the Mega Absol, once again, just like game 1. I think they put a balloon here. Actually, don't recall. Where do they put the balloon? They're going to put the balloon right away on the Froakie. Interesting. So they're opting to stay completely in on this Mega Absol. They're going to ping my Trico. They're not going to ping my Trico, but they're going to Cyrus it though. They're going to Cyrus it. They have the 2 energies. I didn't see that. Gonna just take it down easily. So this game's looking a lot more rough this time around because we don't have our Sceptile, we don't have the Grovyle up, we don't really have anything going for us. But we're still here. We're still attacking. They did use the Cyrus, so if I do get another Trico, we do have the Greninja and Sceptile in hand. But it's not looking like I drew the Trico. So I'm going to Cyrus. Ah, yes, I see. Okay. So they make a big mistake of putting the small balloon down onto the Froakie instead of the Darkrai. So it's actually going to take them... Sorry. It's actually going to take them 2 energies to retreat instead of just 1. So they could have ended the game a lot sooner, but I'm able to stall a little bit longer. So hopefully we get 1 Trico out. But now it kind of doesn't matter at all because they have the double Greninja. So that's just going to take out my Furfrou right away with kind of 0 effort. Because if it was just one Greninja, then see, I would have lived with 10. The next turn I could have gone into my Greninja and potentially Sceptile and make a comeback, yada yada. But this isn't my game. There's really not much you can do against double Greninja, kinda for any deck. So it's finally my turn. I get the Pokeball. And what's the Mon? What is the Mon? Can I do anything here? I actually cannot do anything because that's 80 damage, 100 damage with the first Greninja, 120 with the next one. So they're just kind of showing off the bling a little bit. Just being like, hey yo, concede. And I think I do. I definitely do because I'm not trying to waste time here, but just a little bit of slow thinking. But skipping right into the game 3. This is the initial board state. They have the Froakie. I have Furfrou once again. Furfrou really coming out. I only have 1 of in this deck, but they're just showing up for me. So turn 1 for my opponent. They did draw the Darkrai, so they can play down the Darkrai if they wanted to. Maybe just to unload the hand. They're thinking about it a little bit. Because I also do run the double copycat. So double copycat is always something to be afraid of. So they're just going to unload their hand completely. Because they just really don't want to deal with it. So that's the balloon down and the Darkrai. It is now my turn. I think I should just be attacking here. Always, personally, I feel like you should always go for the high roll here. But that's just my take. Because I see a KO right then and there. I can potentially get the 60. If they evolve next turn, I lost my shot. So I think I absolutely go for this. Oh, but okay. But the Formosa is there, so now is 40 damage instead. So it's a little bit different of a story. We're gonna copycat out. And I do see the Darkrai. The Darkrai was a big thing in that game 1. This Darkrai can get stuck, and they already put the balloon onto the Froakie. So I think that was my mindset there. Like, okay, so the balloon's already gone. I'm gonna try to pull in that Darkrai, and hopefully they can waste a turn or two. But they're gonna go straight into the copycat. They had double Candy, didn't really have much going for them, but now they just have now they just have Chingling, and I have the Rocky Helmet up front, and that is the Rocky Helmet tech coming into play heavily. So even if they were to slow things down, they really can't. They genuinely cannot, because it'll just hurt them. They'll lose a KO. So they're just gonna end the turn. They're gonna just ping me, leave it at that. I'm going to draw 2 cards here. Still no Trico on the board. Should be coming up relatively soon with that Pokeball. So the Pokeball is going to get us the Trico. Going to definitely put an energy on there. Just get it ready. And I think we're just slapping again. Absolutely. Another 40 damage. They are bricking heavily. Having the 2 Chinglings in hand. They drew the rare candy, but nothing else. They're just putting on the board. They don't want to lose any, what should I say? They don't want to lose any momentum. But this is a rough play, because now they kind of sense a rare candy play coming out. So they're just going to slow it down as much as possible. But I'm not quite sure if this is the move. They're in a rough spot, but if you're just attacking here, you're losing both. You're losing both, because that's going to be the 20 damage. I'm going to be able to get a quick double KO. And this should be the end stages of the game. That's the Grovyle. So just like game 1, it didn't really matter that they used Chingling, because I also do have the Grovyle. So we're going to get that double KO. 2 points on the board for me. They're going to go into the small balloon Froakie, because they could just retreat it out. Maybe put in a Mega something or another. And what they draw? They draw Mega Absol. So they have something that can tank if they want to go that route. But if I have Sceptile, that's kind of over. Set is kind of over. So yep, they're gonna put the 1 energy on there, and I think they just concede realistically. Yeah, here it is. So we have the Juliana, and that's GG. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Definitely try this deck out. It is hot stuff. Peace.